Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nursing and Style podcast, where we empower nurses and inspire entrepreneurs to own their piece of healthcare, create multiple streams of income, and build businesses that leave a lasting legacy. Today's guest is Krishondra A, a forensic accountant, healthcare executive, serial entrepreneurial, and business strategist. Her journey spans financial services, tax strategy, healthcare operations, transportation services, home and community based and franchise ownership. Today, we're talking about entrepreneurship, money, building businesses from the ground up, and the real world strategies entrepreneurs need to thrive in today's economy. This topic today is the blueprint for building wealth beyond a paycheck. And Krishondra Noel, a serial entrepreneur, is the best person that we can get this information from. So, Krishondra, welcome. Tell the world a little bit about who is Krishondra in your own words.
So, my name, like she said, is Krishondra Noel. I'm a forensic accountant. I have two masters. I have an MBA as well as a master's in forensic accountant. My entrepreneurship spans almost 20 years now. I started off with a financial firm where it's credit consultatives, tax and financial management. I was doing financial planning. I was a financial advisor for JP Morgan Chase prior to that. And I left there and opened up my own firm. Within opening my firm, a nice man came into my office and was having very bad tax problems. And I was helping him transfer over a 401k into a private investment. Okay, so while we were
Uh-huh.
talking, he's like, "Hey, you're super smart. Can you try to look at my tax problems?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm not an accountant. I'm an advisor." And
Uh-huh.
he's like, "You know what? I believe in you. Check it out for me." So I'm checking out his stuff, and I found the error that his CPA had, and I fixed it for him.
Oh, wow.
We mailed everything over to the IRS. The IRS gave him back a check, and after that, he sent me 50 something clients for taxes. He owned a company. Yeah. So he
Uh-huh.
sent me 50 something clients to do taxes. Now, at this time, I did not have my license. So I was just helping them get their taxes in order, but it was growing every year that I realized I need to do convert my business, credit consultatives, tax, and financial management. So now in 2007, it was converted over to, tax and financial management. So ever since 2007, I have been doing taxes. And from him, I went from, one client to 50 clients to now over 600 for taxes.
Look at that. And
Yep.
you know,
So
it came from a challenge and you were willing to step up to the challenge. You didn't know everything at that time. I don't know what just happened. You didn't know everything at that time
no.
you needed to know, but you were willing to just trust yourself.
Yes,
Take the
yes.
yes, and look what it yield. Yeah.
Yes, right. And then within that span, what I enjoyed learning was while I was, being a tax advisor, I paid attention to the needs of other things. So we'll talk more about that because I know you're going to have some great questions about that.
You already know it. You already
Mhm.
know it. So, starting off accidentally, quote unquote, getting into the tax business, blowing that business up all the way to over 600 clients. And
Yes.
then now I notice you're building an H&R Block franchise. So, what's the
Yes.
most, tell me about a little bit of that transition of how transition to the H&R Block franchise. For those that are out there that have a tax firm that's building that tax firm, they may not even know how you get
The
your business so
opportunities.
attractive
Yes.
that people come knocking on your door. So tell me that before we transition into the next question.
So, within 4 years of me now being licensed as a tax advisor, H&R Block reached out to me and they wanted to purchase my office. And now I was in my 20s at that time. And I was like, no, I don't want to sell my office. I'm going to keep it. So every year they were sending me letters and they said, hey, what about you becoming a franchise? How about that? And then I thought about it and I was like, I have kids and I know this is going to build me a different type of structure. I didn't
Yeah.
like the royalties. I didn't like how much I had to give them, but it was more about the structure for me. And so I decided to convert over to, an H&R Block. If there's anyone out there that's tax advisors that want to know how to do that and the best way to do it, because I learned after how I did mine, there's
Uh-huh.
different ways to do it. make sure you reach out to me because I can help you with that.
Ah, you see that?
Yeah.
Now, people don't realize that when you build a business, you can build a business to sell a business.
Yes. I
So
have
they
friends.
miss out on that opportunity.
Yes. Or one of my really
Yeah.
good friends that's she's a CPA, and she
Uh-huh.
converted her business on purpose just for that reason. So she converted hers over to an H&R Block. She grew
Mhm.
her clientele about maybe 30 more percent, and then she was able to sell her business for a little bit under $1 million after 10
See?
years.
Look at
Yeah.
that. That is
Yeah.
outstanding. All right.
Hmm.
Well, we're going to have some people joining us live. So I want to give an acknowledgement to Mike. Hey, Mike, thank you for watching. Hey, I do the most. By the way, I love that name. I do the most. Is watching us. So feel free to drop in your comments and we'll try to get your questions answered as we go along. Krishan, you know I get so much energy when I'm dealing with you around you. So what's some of the lessons did you learn during your first year of business?
So let's see. There's quite a lot of lessons
Just give
because
us one
let's
lesson.
structure is
Structure.
important. Structure is
Mhm,
important because in the beginning of my business I was an LLC, you know,
mhm,
like I was saying, I came from the background as a financial advisor, so I
mhm,
didn't know the whole structure of accounting. So once I started doing more taxes, I went back and got my master's in forensic accounting because I wanted to know everything. So when you want to master something, you take the hardest class. And I made sure I did that with forensic accounting. So when I took the forensic accounting class, I learned every type of entity it was. It's not just an LLC. So a lot of people think LLC is a federal thing. It isn't. The LLC
mhm,
is statewide. So the federal looks at your company as a sole proprietor. You look at it as a S corp, a C corp, a partnership. So when
mhm,
you look at taxes on those structures, that's how
mhm,
you figure out your taxes. So structure is the key. You're going to want to make sure you look at the type of business that you're opening, the type of
mhm.
revenues that you're thinking that you're going to, do your forecast, see what type of revenues you're going to make, and then open up your office, what type of entity, because changing it costs way more money. I make a lot of
Uh-huh.
money fixing people's errors. You want to make sure you do it right in the beginning. It's so much cheaper.
I love it. I love it. So what are the most common tax mistakes? I think you just gave one. Most common tax mistake entrepreneurs make sounds like when you're setting up your business structure.
It's just
If you don't know
going.
which route you're going, you're
Yeah,
messing it
if you
up from the
don't know
beginning.
exactly. So it's
Mhm,
important. A lot of time our people don't want to pay. They don't want to
mhm,
pay in the beginning, but you're gonna pay in the end if you
mhm,
don't do it properly. And it's so much cheaper to get it done in the beginning because talking to an
mhm,
advisor might cost you a few $100s, but they're gonna
mhm.
make sure your structure is the right structure for what type of business you're building.
I always tell my people, I said, all the students that come to my course, please, please, please have a tax strategy meeting no later than the end of third quarter. Third quarter, not
Yes,
even the end, the beginning of third quarter. Like have a tax strategy meeting, pay for that tax strategy meeting so that you
yes.
know where you're heading to. You
Hmm.
should never get the tax time and be like, oh, what? No, 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 no.
Yes,
Have tax strategy meetings. You shouldn't be
yes.
shocked about this. And
Hmm.
so let's look at what is one thing that an entrepreneur can do to legally maximize tax savings. Just one nugget. Don't give them a whole lot because you got a lot of them. One
Okay.
good tax savings that people possibly miss.
So you want to set up, especially owners, you want to try to set up yourself an IRA. Okay. So
Okay.
IRAs are great savings on on tax wise because the monies that you put in this IRA is going to be tax deferred for you. So it saves a lot of money. So you're going to
Yeah.
want to set up an IRA, especially because when you own your own structure, you don't have a 401k, you don't have any of those things. So you can start one of those. You can, having a private
Yes.
company, and that's another thing we can talk about. But it's very important that you try to start yourself an investment because once you put those monies aside, then that's something that you could defer on taxes.
Ooh, I can talk taxes all day.
Me too, girl.
It's when you in America and you
Hmm.
don't understand how business is set up, how this world is set up for us in America. It's like,
Yes,
why do you not have a business? You don't even understand and begin to understand the opportunities for tax savings. When I heard Warren Buffett make a comment that my secretary pays more taxes than me, I'm like, a billionaire pay the secretary pays more taxes than a billionaire? Wake up,
yes,
America, right? What you
yes,
doing? Right. So
yes.
Yeah, you're like my best buddy in this
Mhm.
world. I love, love,
Yeah.
love taxes. So now let's talk about this. So you were with forensic accounting, started off with financial planning, kind of got challenged, went into the tax side, and then all of a sudden you're the owner of Pelican State Home and Community Services. How did you flip from tax business to healthcare business?
Doing taxes. So while while I'm in the office, so what happened was in 2012, a client came in. I was doing her taxes for a few years, 4 or 5 years now. And I just asked about the company that she worked for because I'd never heard of the company. That's one big thing that I always do. I like to research the W-2s
Mhm,
that come in. I just
mhm.
want to know, especially if
Yeah,
it's not a large company that you've heard of. So I
yeah.
asked more about that company, and it was a medical transportation company. And I asked a little bit more about, what do they do? And she was like, oh, it's a statewide business and they just pick up clients in the area and bring them back to their homes. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
my husband graduated in logistics. He's about to open a business. So we so we opened up Noel Medical Transportation. And then in
Yeah.
2019, that's when Pelican State happened because from those last 5 years from Noel Medical to Pelican State, I had so many clients now at this time. We were doing almost 100 trips a day. And we
Wow.
started, yeah. So we started finding that a lot of the clients were needing help. They needed personal care attendants. So
Yeah.
we were having our own drivers helping them, walking them into the doctor's office, walking them into
Yeah.
their home. So then I was doing bookkeeping for about four PCA. I'm still doing bookkeeping and taxes for about
Yeah.
four PCA facilities. And I called the girls. I was like, hey, listen, I own a medical transportation business and we're doing so many of this PCA services. Talk to me more about home health care. And so
Uh-huh.
they gave me information, and it took almost 2.5 years because of the facility needs review for
Oh,
us to
that thing
get through.
tough.
Oh my goodness, for us to
Mhm.
get through and get qualified to open up the PCA facility. And now Pelican State Home and Community Services was born.
See, and I have people that come to me all the time, nurses, wanting to start healthcare businesses, and I have non-nurses, and they're like, "Can a non-nurse own a healthcare business?" You're the perfect
Yes,
example of that. Yes, you
yes,
can.
ma'am. I'm
Now,
an accountant.
another, see, you're not the only accountant that I know that own a business. On, let me clock this.
Yes.
Accountants ain't starting businesses that they know ain't making no money.
Talk to me, girl.
Hmm. So
See
you
that
saw the
you
numbers.
got the background. So that's the thing
Hmm.
with me. I do research. Now, a lot of people want to start a business just because they see something on TikTok or Instagram.
Uh-huh.
That's not the proper way to open up a business. You have to do your research because
Mhm.
research is going to give you that key on what type of, there's something called KPIs, which is your
Yes.
indicators, right? You're going to need to make
Uh-huh.
sure you can find all these key indicators because this right here is
Flip
going to
that.
give you the structure, right? That's
Uh-huh.
going to give you the structure and that leads you to the revenue because you don't want to start a business just because you say, oh, these people are making 200,000, 300,000, $1 million a year because your market might not be for that, so you want to make sure that you do this research in the beginning.
Oh, you gave some nuggets.
Yeah.
All right. So now, what was very different for you compared to some other people? I like the way you stack your businesses. So you
Hmm.
had your first opportunity with transportation. Oh, my husband's about to graduate in logistics. Oh, he gonna start a business because we gonna control this and I have unlimited income, right?
Yeah.
Now
Hmm.
you paid attention to what my clients need. Because a lot of
Hmm.
times, what else you're going to do next, your people that you're serving are telling you if you're
Yes.
paying attention. So you were paying attention. You're like, okay, let me look into this.
Yes.
This works. I can do this. We already have a pipeline. So
Hmm.
now we're going to be the solution to the people that already trust us and now
Right.
add this layer of service on. But for those people that are maybe they don't have a pipeline, they haven't done this before, how do you actually get your customers? You successfully launched and grew your home and community-based service business in a highly competitive healthcare market. So let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about your marketing strategies without giving away too much of your secret sauce. When you first launched your home care business, what marketing strategies do you believe that you use that attract your very first clients, not necessarily the ones that was already in your pipeline, but what else
Hmm.
did you do organically to get get some clients?
So two things that's very important is your community. Okay. You have to make sure you network with your community. And then what I mean with your networking of your community is for home health care, there's social workers. So you're going to want to get to know those social workers, because even though there's something called a freedom of choice list,
That's
those
right.
social workers will definitely tell those clients, because they're getting the clients, so, and then they give you the clients. So you're going
Mhm.
to want to make sure you have that relationship with your social workers, that you're answering the phone, you're checking on your clients, you're sending all the information back to them, on time, because that lets them know you're responsible, you're going to be, the best person for these clients. And
Put
then
that.
that's going to give them.
Mhm.
So your community is your key. Like, you can go online and you can do a lot of marketing. You can do a lot of, going online and advertise a lot, but it's mostly that foot on the ground,
Yep.
working with the community. You have to work with the
Yep.
community. Get your brochures out, knock on those doors and talk to the people in the offices. Give them cookies. It could be simple things, guys, like
Yes.
drop off some good little cookies, and then
Yes.
with your business cards, they love a little appreciation. Those people at those front desks, when those guys are checking out, man, they'll give you your card so quickly. I've gotten probably 30% of my clients just because of that.
Look at that. And you know what? I tell people all the time, because I've been in healthcare nurse executive for a very, very long time. Those salespeople that show up empty handed, I don't even want to hear you. Right?
Thank
I'm
you.
busy. I'm rolling. I got other things to do. But if you stop me with a snack, because I probably haven't eaten all day,
Yes,
I'm going to have an opportunity to talk with you. And make sure you have your business card attached to those snacks, because I might forget about
exactly.
you. And
Yes,
so if
ma'am.
another nurse or case manager comes in later that day and now they're grabbing one of your cookies, they see your information. And then when you show back up, it becomes a familiarity, because I just saw your logo, I just saw your information. So
Yes,
boots on the ground is what you said. That's
yes.
how you got to get it done.
And
All right.
you could get little cheap little things. Like, I even did little sticky notes, the little sticky
Yeah.
pads,
Yeah.
and with my
Exactly.
company's name on it, and I dropped them off at the little different offices, because
Mhm.
the people in the front office use those sticky pads all the time. So
All the
when
time.
all the time. So when they see it, they're like, "Oh, wait, it call these people," So
Yes,
yeah.
look at that. That was a
Mhm.
great tip. So what do
Yeah.
you believe was the biggest reason clients choose your organizations over competitors and continue to choose your organization over competitors?
It's really the social workers. Like, is not, and it's also because we make sure we pride ourselves on visibility, like, so
Mhm,
we want to make sure that you're working with most of your people in your community, right? So because
mhm,
in home and healthcare, it's regional, so
mm,
wherever your office located, you're working with the people in that region. So you're going to
mhm.
want to make sure that you're visible on any type of, when Medicaid have programs down here, make sure somebody is representing there, because once they see
That's a
you
good
all the
one.
time, yeah,
Mhm.
because Medicaid comes down and they have meetings, they have, they do health and wellness programs. You're going to want to
Yes,
make sure that you stay online with that, so you can go to all the community events. Yeah.
I
I
love it.
really work great with the community.
Yeah. So you're constantly hitting it over and over again. You got to be boots on the ground. You have
Yes,
to be
ma'am.
visible. You have to get plugged into your community. So if you're serving home and community-based communities, what are those people doing? Get involved, be
Hmm.
present, be social. Now, I did notice you mentioned a little bit on social media, not necessarily being your big hype thing. Like if you're marketing on social media, but you're not actually in the communities, there could be a disconnect. Tell me a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Yeah, so what happens is when you're online and you're doing all your advertisement, you're not sure where that market is for that
Mhm.
online, because you could be showing stuff to people in New Orleans, but you can't service the people in New Orleans. You're not too sure where that internet is reaching out to, so
Yeah.
if you want to do online marketing, you're going to want to make sure you sign up with a company, say, hey, I want to do these zip codes, because when you're
Mhm.
in home health care, your region is the people you're servicing. So, nothing's wrong with, like, for advertising for my H&R Block, I do things
Uh-huh.
online, I do things online for that. But when it's for my home health care and my PCA facility, I do a little bit more Facebook online online because I know Instagram and YouTube, that's a larger, you know,
Mhm.
area, and I can't service everybody in those areas, you know, because
Right.
the state requires you to be in a certain location, you know.
Yeah.
So I try my best to just make sure that for whatever business that I want to do marketing for, I make sure I
Mhm.
do it the proper way. Because listen, 20 years into business, you learn so much and you waste money so many times. That's why I'm a great coach, because I can be
Right.
like, hey, don't do that.
That's
It's
right.
not going to work, you know?
That's
So
right.
after 20 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of marketing, yes,
Yep.
I'm not
Mhm.
playing when I'm telling you
Mhm.
H&R Block gets it out. So I'm telling you, hundreds of $1,000s of marketing. You want to make sure that when you start a business, you want to talk to somebody that understands the business, sets your
Mhm.
structure up properly, and can give you
Mhm.
the proper coaching on how to do it.
I got to have you back in my coaching classes as a guest just to knock out on that proper structure because that is imperative. Uh,
Yes.
so let's talk a little bit more about what role did consistency play in your marketing efforts? Because some people are like, I did that. I did it for 3 weeks. I ain't getting nothing, and they go dormant. What role
No.
did consistency play in your marketing efforts?
Listen, you have to stay consistent, because one thing I learned, like I said, in those years of going through every type of marketing I can try, I
Mhm.
quit when I thought something wasn't working. But then I
Mhm.
got mad after, you know, the first 5 years. You think about all the money that you spent after quitting. So I decided, you know what, let's keep it going.
Mhm.
Sometimes it takes 6 months to a year before that type of marketing strategy will even work for you. So you're gonna want to stay consistent to something that you know is a proven win. Because even if you don't see something for the first 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, you have to keep it going, reposting it, resending it, redoing it. Because nothing wrong with you reposting the same video or the same message,
That's
because
right.
the people that saw it the first time, they might now understand it a little bit better,
That's
listening a little
right.
bit better, sharing it this time. You never know. So keep consistency, because if you know that's a proven way of something working, keep it going. Like what they used to say, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it, or something like
That's
that.
right. That's right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep moving.
Keep
Yep.
moving. Yeah.
Yep.
So I like to make sure that my like I said, structure again is
Yep.
always, yeah. So I have a list of, you know, let's do it this way. After 3 months, then you move this way. And I have a different marketing structure for each one of my businesses. H&R Block,
Mhm.
mostly online. Noel
Mhm.
Medical Transportation, community, outside in the streets. Pelican State,
Uh-huh.
outside in the streets. Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's your got your framework on that. All right. So let's see. What would you say to a nurse entrepreneur who believes that their marketing feels uncomfortable or too salesy? You know, I have a lot of nurses that say, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want to do videos. I'm afraid to go out there and talk to people. What's your advice on that?
So I was that person, you know.
What?
Yes, I'm kind of still that person, right? So
Wow.
yeah, so that's why I'm really just getting really good into doing more of my, like, I don't mind the feet on the ground and knocking on doors and talking to people, right? My
Yeah.
whole thing is the internet part is kind of scary, you know? So
Mhm.
I try to tell them just get over it, you know, because a lot of times
Uh-huh.
I'm a big
Just don't.
perfectionist, right?
Mhm.
I'm a big perfectionist, and I would look at myself on a video and be like, "Oh, your eyes look crooked," or "Let's not post this video because your shirt wasn't correct," or you weren't ironed," you know, something. I
Uh-huh.
find any type of problem. But
Uh-huh.
listen, the people that's coming to you is not looking for that. They're
Nope.
not
Not
looking
even
for,
paying attention to it.
they're not paying attention to it. They are literally listening for the education so you
That's
can
right.
teach them to move on to another level. So just try your best to just put it out. Just
Yeah.
put it out, you know. Get it
Yeah.
done, ladies. Get it done, gentlemen, because if you, the longer you wait, procrastination is not good, you know. A lot of
Mhm.
times people want to wait until they have it perfect. No,
Yeah.
ma'am, I do not
Yeah.
believe in it. I do not believe in it. Right now I'm in the process of opening a sober living home for 20,
What?
20, yes, 20. I wish if my internet was decent, I could have walked you to the facility because I tried to make sure all my things are in this location. My H&R
Yes,
Block is here. My home health
yes,
care agency is literally 2 blocks away. I could walk there. And
yes.
the sober living facility is around the corner from here. So
Look at that.
so I'm in a process of doing that right now. And with the sober living facility, I realized that marketing structure is a little bit different, but I
Mhm.
had to make sure that I felt comfortable and I was okay with going out and talking to the councilman.
Mhm.
I had to talk with the our we call them parish presidents out here. So I
Right.
had to get meetings with those people. But the thing is, you have to tell yourself you belong in that room.
Ooh, ooh,
Nothing's
say
wrong.
say it
Tell-
again.
You belong in that room. Okay. You have to
Mhm.
believe in yourself. And
Mm.
one thing, I love Oprah, right? I love Oprah.
Yes.
And I remember when I was in my teenage years, she had a segment and she was talking about how she believed in herself. And she was like a whatever she was doing, like news anchor. I don't know what she was doing at
Yes.
that time.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
they came up and said, "Hey, we'll give you, let's say, $1 million." And she was saying, "You know what? If they're offering me that, I have something. I
Uh-huh.
have something.
That,
So
yep.
let me work on doing what I need to do for myself." And then that's how her network came out. And now she's a billionaire because she believed in self. And
That's
that's what's
right.
important. Sometimes you have to have that not sometimes. You have to have that accountability partner because one
Yes.
thing I must say, my husband, I loved him down. My
Yeah.
husband was my key. And not only was he my accountability partner, he believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And he had pushed me out there and said, "Baby, you got this. Listen
Yeah.
to me. You got this. You could do this, babe." So it's important for you to have that person, but you also have to have that in yourself. It's
That's
important
right.
to have that in yourself because if you don't believe it, then it's hard for that person that believes in you to push you to help you do it. So you have to believe in self.
Oh, look. I done came up with so many things were running through my head for you. I'm like, Krishondra is the community champion. You
Yes.
literally are finding out what else does my community need? How can I be the one to support them? How can I service them? I mean, I can see you're going to be running for some type of political office here pretty soon
I
because you're so
want
connected in the
to.
community. I can tell
I
you're
do.
going to be there.
I definitely want to, but the thing is, I want to do it so I don't live in a region where
Yeah.
my offices are. But
Uh-huh.
I want to
You don't
be
live there
a,
yet. You don't have an
right.
address yet
So
because you're
I
going to end up
lived
buying
here.
something.
I lived here and I
Uh-huh.
moved after my mom had a stroke, and I
Yeah.
moved to about 40 minutes away. But I'm
Yeah.
going to probably get another location because I love
Mhm.
Terrebonne Parish so much that this
Yeah.
is the parish that I just believe so much in. I'm from Orleans Parish. I'm from New Orleans and I love New Orleans. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I became the woman that I am in this office. Like literally, if I go outside longer than 60 seconds, somebody's gonna drive past my office, they're gonna blow the
Uh-huh.
horn, and they're gonna be like, "Hey,
Wow.
Miss Noel," because I'm
Oh.
really in this community, working for this community.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Now, being a Nickel State girl and being someone that had an opportunity to go to school in that community and live in that community, it is different. It is great. And when you get rooted and grounded in your community, the people they're going to be down for you because they
Yes.
can see you. And so visibility and trust can kind of go hand in hand. So
Mhm.
what was your toughest business season?
Oh
And have
man,
you ever
COVID.
wanted to quit? COVID was your
COVID.
toughest business
Oh
season.
my goodness.
Yeah.
COVID, COVID was so bad for medical transportation. It was so bad for
Mm.
medical transportation. So we went from having 13 vans in the state of Louisiana
Wow.
transporting people to the state changing the rules because so many people couldn't be in the van at the same time. And we
That's
didn't want
right.
people Right. And we didn't want people to get sick. So we were only transporting from, it was 7 people at a time down to like 2 or 3. So we only had one person per row, and there's only 2 rows in the minivan, and then one
Right.
person in the front. And then sometimes, depending on what the driver was, that driver didn't want anybody in the front. So we were only doing about 2 people. So we lost almost 70% of our income. Do you hear me?
Whoa.
70% of our income, and we are gradually growing back. We went from
Yeah.
making almost, can we speak numbers on here?
You is it's up to you.
Okay,
You can be
so
real.
for this business, we were making about close to about 800,000 to 900,000 a year. Not a whole bunch,
Yeah.
but it's still
She
great,
said not a whole bunch. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yes, you
in
got to know what
comparison.
rooms you're in. You got to know what rooms you're in. See that little money to her. Let's go. Let's
So
go.
we were making about 800,000 to 900,000 a year, and now
Hmm.
the business is making, growing back to about 400. But we went for about three
Yes.
years about 200 and something $1,000 a year. So it was not where it needed to be. COVID has really done a number on non-emergency
Yeah.
medical transportation in every state, because I did the research and I found out it's in every state. So they're
Hmm.
growing back. So what happened is Uber and Lyft came in right after COVID, and
Uh-huh.
now these people are taking 1 and 2 people, and they're doing
Uh-huh.
it for cheaper prices. So since they allowed Uber and Lyft to come in the market, now the mom and pop stores, I want to, not stores, but offices from
Yeah.
non-emergency medical transportation, we lost a lot of clientele because now they're giving it to the Uber and Lyft after COVID.
Hmm.
So not
Hmm.
only did that come in and took a toll on the transportation, but how many people you're going to place in your vans now. We go now up to about 5, but
Yeah.
we still not getting to that 7. And that's a okay thing. I'm okay with that. But
Yeah.
another thing is, just to put a little something about me as well, I'm on 2 boards. I'm on the board, I'm the treasurer of the board for the state of Louisiana for non-emergency medical
Community
transportation.
champion.
Yes,
Hmm.
ma'am. So since I'm
Uh-huh.
on the board, I wrote for a pay increase that just
Yes.
got approved. So
Congrats.
they used my cost break analysis and believed my cost break analysis, and for the first time in so many years, they allowed for somebody outside of the state to come in, do a cost break analysis, and they took mine and implemented these new rules. So the governor just got it. It got passed through the board, and I was able to meet with so many senators. I was able to sit in front of the state of Louisiana and talk about non-emergency
Yes.
medical transportation. And with that bill, it has changed where now we're going to get about a 60% increase, in which we've been needing that. So starting by January, non-emergency medical transportation should be doing so much better.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Y'all in Louisiana, you better clap it up.
Yes, yes.
Krishondra is a community champion. All right, Krishondra, as we are winding down now, we're going to go through our rapid fire questions. So, rapid fire first thoughts, spit it out, don't overthink it. What is the
Okay.
biggest myth about building wealth?
Biggest myth about
Just
building
one
wealth.
sentence or one liner. What's your biggest myth about building wealth?
Okay, so people think that saving your money is the way to build your wealth. And that's not true. I hate to say it like that. Is saving
It's
money is
facts.
it's the facts.
It's facts.
Saving money, you're gonna get 2-3% interest. That is not the way to build wealth. And borrowing other people's money is definitely the way to build wealth. I am
Oh, you
in the
just dropped
position.
You drop
I
nuggets.
just
You drop nuggets. We gonna let
I'm
them come to you. Hold some
yes,
of that.
hold
We
that.
gonna let them come to you. All
Because I
right.
help with financing. Yes.
There we go. So, what's one thing every entrepreneur should stop doing immediately?
Looking at TikTok and believing the stuff people are saying, believing the stuff people are saying on TikTok. Oh my God. If people call me one more time and saying they see something on TikTok, is this true? No, it's not. It's not true. Most of these people on TikTok that is giving you information are not certified accountants, and they are not
Uh-huh.
certified financial advisors. So they find
Yes.
out little rules that their state are implementing and just throw it out as if it's everywhere. That is not true.
Uh-huh. Oh, good job. Good job. What's one thing every entrepreneur should start doing immediately?
Reading, it's very important. So there's a book about building wealth. I am so terrible about remembering the names of books, but I am a big
Uh-huh.
reader. But
Uh-huh.
there's anything Warren Buffett comes out with, you're gonna want to
Uh-huh.
read it. There's
Uh-huh.
one that's about oh my God, I'm reading it right now and I cannot think of the name of it. But you're gonna want to definitely find any type of books about
Mm-hmm.
financial growth and read those because they have a lot of great nuggets in them.
See that? So people that are on a move, that are in the money kind of market, people that are looking to progress are always reading. I hear that over and over again. What's the best investment you ever made?
It's crypto. I hate to say it like that.
Hey, it is what it is.
Crypto. I
What's one?
believed in it. I believed in it in the beginning, and
Uh-huh.
I made about $700,000 in about 4 months with
Look at
crypto. And I wish to God I was still involved in it like I was. I got a lot
yes.
of my good friends involved in it, and they're still making a killing. But I am so overwhelmed with all these other things that I got going on. I was doing this during COVID when I had
Yeah,
more time, and during
that's right.
COVID. I invested in not Bitcoin. It's oh God, that's so sad. I can't even remember. I got made all that money
It's
from
okay. I would rather
yeah,
for you to not to throw it out because
there
I
you
don't
go.
want anybody to take that as financial advice. So
Right, let's not do
very
that.
good.
There
What's
you go.
one financial habit that has contributed most to your success?
Stability, like
Mm,
finding. So what happened was when I started my tax and financial management office, I also owned a daycare, and I did
mhm,
not have a structure in place, right? So
mhm.
I brought in the money and I spent it rather than saying, okay, let's make a plan. 10% needs to be for the food for the kids, 30% goes to payroll. You're going to
Yeah.
want to make sure your first month you line up every single dollar, every single penny that you make, and then you count all your expenses, and then that gives you
Mhm,
your bottom line of what you have left over. That
mhm.
number is what you made, guys, after
Yes.
expenses. A lot of times people think, oh, my business made $10,000 this month, and they think you made $10,000. No, sir. You had bills, you have expenses, you have all
Right.
these other things that you have to pay for. After that, after you gross your net, that is what
Yes.
you're bringing home. That is your revenue. Make sure you pay attention to that.
I love it. What's something wealthy people understand that others often overlook?
Borrowing other people's money. Every
Uh-huh.
single one of my friends. I have a friend that's worth 10, $15 million.
Yes.
And every single business that she's ever opened, she's never used her money. Never.
Uh-huh.
Never.
Oh, what is your definition of a wealthy life? I think I know it.
Being on a cruise all day. Let me say, no.
You
um,
better have a whole lot of stock in them cruises because you love cruising.
I love cruising. I'm gonna be on one in 3 weeks.
See?
Um, l-
Yeah.
let me see. I think I think being your own boss and
Mhm.
relinquishing your time back is very
Mhm.
important. Having that, and that's where I'm trying. I'm a helicopter manager. Okay.
Yeah.
All these businesses that I have a director over my PCA facility. That
Yes.
business makes great money. And that
Yes.
business, I have a lady that manages that, and I love her
Yes.
to death. And
For
I
the
let her do that.
inspiration of the listeners for are you uh are you happy in six figures, seven figures, eight figures? Where would you say your business is?
All of when I combined,
Uh-uh.
I'm one
Yeah,
at a
let's
time.
combine it. Let's combine it for some to cover so we don't have to break down the individuals. Let's just combine it. Combine businesses, six, seven, or eight. Where you at?
I'm definitely mid sevens.
There you go. So that should be an inspiration to you all as we close out on today, that you have to have a desire for the things that you want. You have to be curious. You got to do it scared. You're not going to know everything to do. You have to be visible when you're
Yes.
out here trying to build a business, and you have to be consistent. And
Mm.
most importantly, you got to have someone that has great financial strategies on your side. You need a great tax person. I always tell people your tax strategist, your tax preparer, your CPA, those are your best friends in business. So make sure if you don't have a best friend in business, you need to get one today. day. So your
Yes.
story, Krishandra, reminds us that wealth is not built by chance. It's built through strategy, education, execution, and the courage to start before everything else feels perfect. Entrepreneurship is not just about making money, it's about creating opportunities, building systems, serving communities, and leaving a lasting legacy. So, as we close out, Krishandra, tell everybody how they can reach you, where they can follow you.
So on Instagram, I'm Noel, Noelkri. My Instagram is business stuff and personal, guys. But you can also find me. I have a Facebook. It's Credit, Credit, Consultative, Consultative. And then my Facebook as well is Krishandra Hamilton Noel. So, and that's my name right there, Krishandra, Krishondra Hamilton Noel.
Krishandra, I don't know about anybody else, but I had an absolute joy being on this call with you. A lot of amazing nuggets drop. I want to thank Aisha Smith. She was on here with us. Hitler was on here with us. Sid Lou, which is Sunita, she was on here with us watching. You had a lot of claps. We had somebody that was excited, that Aisha was so excited that you're from Southeast Louisiana.
Mhm.
So just as we close out, these are your Louisiana sisters bringing you the absolute best in entrepreneurship. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.